Hey guys, I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. So I'd like to talk about the YouTuber Sabine Hossenfelder. So she has been making content for a few years now, mostly science videos on topics of everything from physics to technology. Her background is she has a PhD in theoretical physics. And I think her earlier videos really stayed within the realm of physics, and of recently, I think she's slowly branched out to other fields of science and technology. For example, she's talked about AI, she's talked about climate change, but for the most part, she stayed in the realm of science and technology. Well, about 2 weeks ago, she made a video called Capitalism is Good, and she really got dogpiled on for this one. Like their reaction videos, I follow a lot of left-wing YouTubers, people who are critical of capitalism, some people who are just self-identified socialists, communists, and even some anarchists. And they were very critical of her video. A lot of them had never even heard of her before. Now, the thing with this, let's see, I don't really want to so much talk about the mistakes she made in her video, because there's dozens of videos where they do it better than I could, because these people are pretty used to debating people with the topic of capitalism. But even within that, like I don't know a lot about those arguments. But even the things she was presenting in her video, I could see kind of the falsehoods in it. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the video, but I will point out something, for example, and this is me who really doesn't know a whole lot about the topic. She brought up the issue of how capitalism benefits innovation in respect to medicine, and she used the development of penicillin for an example, and how it was distributed, I think, during World War II. And even I could see the problem. Well, not the problem, but it's like you basically have the government doing that. And even now we have an issue where private companies, in order to seek profit, they'll, short-term profits are more for treatments and not cures for things. And then, so she kind of ignored the fact that you have a lot of these innovations in medicine otherwise that are subsidized by the government, that aren't a product of capitalism, and how even though there are corporations that are involved with these, it's because the governments are doing these things through corporations. And then she kind of mentions the critique of capitalism by Karl Marx, which, how can you talk about capitalism or critique of capitalism without talking about Karl Marx? But then she just says, but we're not going to get into that. The thing that I want to focus on more is kind of like what she seems to have done since she's been making the videos. Not her specific, not just her, but what a lot of people who I guess are kind of fall into the category of public intellectuals and who are very well educated. It seems that what she's done is that even though her background is in theoretical physics, she's branched out to these other things that she doesn't seem to know a lot about, that she, which, not saying that that she can't talk about things such as AI or the environment or even economics. But it seems that, well, what she's done, and I'll name someone else who I think has done the same thing, is that they'll start out by getting their bona fides by, for a while, talking about topics that are within their specialty, and then slowly kind of drifting to other topics, almost like a mission creep. And kind of the goodwill and the trust that she's built in the topics that she is an expert in, theoretical physics, relativity, physics topics. She's developed that goodwill, she's developed that trust, and then she kind of brings it to other topics, and people just say, well, she knows about these things, she must know about the others. And I think that's why a lot of the people who were quick to criticize her were people who never heard of her before, because if you just have this random woman talking about something that her arguments or discussions are kind of fallacious, you'll be more likely to criticize her if she hasn't developed that trust. And what I want to say is that that's a thing that people have to be wary of, that when you have people who have whatever credentials, whether they have PhDs or medical degrees or something like that, and they branch outside of their fields, it's not that you shouldn't listen to them. It's not that they can't be trusted. It's not that they don't know what they're talking about. But always do not assume or do not think in the sense that because they may have expertise in this field, that extends to other fields. And when I say this, I'm even talking about myself. Like I've mentioned several times in videos, I have a PhD in math. But when I talk about things like movies or politics, I'm really giving my opinion. And even when I talk about topics that are kind of related to mathematics, like computer science, some of my videos, I'm basically giving my opinion. In some other videos, I'm citing sources like papers. So I think that's a thing that a lot of experts, unfortunately, have a habit of doing. And people will kind of follow into it because it's like an appeal to, a fake appeal to expertise because they're not really experts. And someone who I think has done this quite effectively is Jordan Peterson. I've watched videos where Jordan Peterson has discussed topics in psychology, and he's actually very good at explaining things. He's very insightful because he has a PhD in psychology. And even within the realm of self-help, I think there's something to be said there because he's talking about essentially kind of the tools of being a counselor or a therapist. But when he starts talking about things like politics, when he starts talking about things like philosophy, when he gets into theories of hierarchy and like I said, like it's political science, then he's just injecting his opinion. And I think, unfortunately, referring to himself as Dr. Jordan Peterson and then following up, stating your title, following up with that discussion with a discussion about politics or culture or society, I think that it gives someone an air of expertise in the field that they're not an expert in. So it would be, I guess, if I had followed this trend, what I would have done is I would have made about 15 videos where I discussed topics in mathematics like calculus, maybe modern algebra, and I would have slowly branched out from that. But I think my first big video was me just talking shit about Bill Maher. So I'm not going to really lean on that. And I don't use my name in my videos, but I'm not going to refer to myself as Dr. So-and-so because now I do believe if you have the title, you can use it. But I think that I'm not going to refer to myself by that title anyway if I'm talking about politics because the implication is I know about those things. Now, I will end it with this, though. There is a question of having expertise in one field. Does it somehow maybe give you strength in another? And I'll say maybe. And I'll give kind of an example of one of my favorite political, I guess you could say, commentary activists, intellectuals, Noam Chomsky. And Noam Chomsky is known for his political activism. He's known for his theories of media and how media will influence people, manufacturing consent. But his actual background is in linguistics and philosophy. So I remember years ago, someone asked him, how has your background in linguistics influenced your politics and how you approach your discussion of politics or something along those lines? And he said, not at all. And I don't think that's totally true. If you have a PhD or even a medical degree or a law degree, then you have a lot of experience doing research and doing critical thinking. So I will say that with the years of schooling I do think that when I read papers, when I hear people's opinions, what I've learned in the study of mathematics, of how you construct a good argument or how you find fallacies in arguments, does affect how I will interpret or comprehend or come to conclusions with the things I hear that other people say. And also the research factor of learning how to do research. I don't know if Sabine Hossenfelder, I don't know, and I'm probably killing her name because I can't pronounce German names at all. But I don't know if she's like getting funding from some type of neoliberal think tank or the Koch brothers or the Heritage Foundation or something like that. But when I watched the video, the statements she was making were just so transparently aired. I I'd like to think that if they were involved, they would at least be a bit more clever with it. Because I know with the PragerU videos, the PragerU videos are complete trash, but at least they're clever with the propaganda. So I don't know what was going on with with those videos, but I think she should really just maybe stick more to the science. And if she wants to talk about those topics that go outside of science and technology, maybe she should have a format where she brings other people in and discuss it with her. Because she does do serious discussion. It is kind of presented as an education YouTube channel. Meanwhile, my stuff. I'm making jokes about mathematicians having sex parties. So take me as serious as you want to. Anyway, thank you.